Whites gather for miles to slay Negroes. Men sought heavily barricaded in small hut. 2 killed in early stages of the siege. Shalom. All praises, glories, and honors to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai Ba'ashim HaKakodash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of a great millstone who have told me this truth, as well as men of like mind. Shalom wa kasad to the elect of the nation of Israel. Umayisoko, Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners whom are scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great, and abroad. To you I say Shalom and Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai Tazah. This lesson is concise and edifying. Now, reading this information on this newspaper of this picture, it reminded me of the book of Ezekiel, 35th chapter, the 6th verse. Because it states whites, which according to the Holy Bible, whites are Edomites, which according to the book of Malachi, chapter 4, verse 1 verse 4, are the border of wickedness, in whose hand, pursuant to the book of Job, chapter 9, verse 24, the earth has been given into. Okay? Whites gathered for miles to slay Negro. So there was a point in time during post-slavery where a company of Edomites gathered themselves together to slay so-called Negroes for miles. So-called Negroes, according to the Holy Scriptures, are Israelites of the tribe of Judah. Men sought heavily barricaded in small hut. So you had so-called Negroes that were sought heavily after. During the time of post-slavery by Esau, Edom, so-called whites, to slay them. Two killed in early stages of the siege. And so it was a siege. So guess what? This is the book of Ezekiel, chapter 35, verse 1. Moreover, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, Son of man, set thy face against Mount Seir. Now, who is Mount Seir? Who dwelt in Mount Seir? Esau, Edom. Pursuant to the book of Genesis, the 38th chapter, I believe. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom, roughly paraphrasing. And the Lord has commanded his prophets to set their faces against the government of Esau. Modern day Mount Seir is America, Babylon the Great. Modern day Mount Seir will be destroyed by fire. Okay? The government of Esau, Edom, which is comprised of the NATO and the EU, with America being an extension of that empire, will be destroyed by fire. Fire that will be coming from intercontinental ballistic missiles, as well as concentrated rays of light that will be shot forth from the heavenly chariots of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Thus and Yahweh Shai. Right now, the Lord has commanded his prophets to prophesy against Mount Seir, against the government of Esau, Edom. And tell him his judgment. Tell him all the things that he's done throughout history, such as this being one of them, is what he will pay for. And prophesy against it, and say unto it, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee. So the Lord is against Mount Seir. The Lord is against you, E. I will stretch out mine hand, and the word hand in the Hebrew is yad, which means strength, against thee, and I will make thee most desolate. Now, what does the word desolate mean? Let's go into that word desolate. Desolate. The Hebrew word is shama, shama, sham, sham, and maha, shama, which means devastation, waste, desolation, astonishment, desolation. The Lord will indeed make America, Babylon the Great, an astonishment after he destroys it, when he's destroying it. And you can read that in Revelations, the 18th chapter, Isaiah, the 13th chapter. Astonishment. Let's look up that word astonishment. Amazement, great surprise, shock, confusion, perplexity, disbelief, dismay, and that's exactly what's going to happen. So once all of those that trade by sea with America see her smoke, the smoke of her burning going up, they're going to be in astonishment. They're going to howl and cry and cast dust upon their heads, which is a metaphor or something that is done to show a state of confusion, a state of mourning, waste, desolation, devastation. Some of the synonyms are ruin, havoc, wreckage, laying waste. So America will be a great wreckage, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Thus and Yahweh Shai. It will be made a great desolation by way of 200 million ICBM nuclear missiles, for her sins have reached up unto heaven, and the Lord has seen it. The Lord remembers it all, and the Lord will recompense this great whore for the atrocities that she has committed against his people, the nation of Israel. One of them being this. Okay? And thou shalt know that I am the Lord Yahweh, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred. Now let's see what that word perpetual mean. Perpetual. Perpetual. Iralam, perpetual. Long duration, antiquity, which means old. Forever, ever, everlasting, evermore, perpetual, old, ancient, going back to the time of Cain and Abel. Cain came back in the regeneration as Esau, Edom. Abel came back as Jacob. And Jacob and Esau has always had between themselves a perpetual hatred for one another. a difference between one another, because we are two separate nations. Ancient time, forever, always, everlasting, because thou hast had a perpetual and ancient and everlasting hatred, and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel during the time of slavery, during the time of post-slavery, especially post-slavery. Wounded knees, trail of tears, Derby's dose, which was a tactic that was used by slave owners, where they would have another slave defecate in the mouth of a slave that would try to escape, while they would apply burning ointment on their wounds. You see? The atrocities that they had committed against the northern tribes. From Ephraim, so-called Puerto Ricans, on down to Issachar, so-called Mexicans. By the force of the sword, and the sword is Esau, Edom's blessing, that was given to him by Yahushua when he was Isaac. And in time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity at an end. So when our iniquity had its end, this devil nevertheless still went above and beyond and shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword. Rape, rod, murder them, rape their women, feed their babies to alligators, cut the babies out of the women's stomachs, bug break the men, all form of wickedness in the time of their calamity and in the time that their iniquity had an end. And this is the point that I wanted to get, because guess what? As these whites had gathered for miles to slay those so-called Negroes, guess what, Esau? Verse 6, therefore, as I live, saith the Lord Yahweh, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee. So as you had pursued these men, guess what, Esau? In your hatred, guess what? Blood shall also pursue you, man. Does it mean that a blood is going to take up the form of a man or an entity and run behind you? No, it's just a metaphor that's saying that because you love shedding blood so much, therefore, likewise, your blood return back to pursue you by way of who? The nation of Israel. When the Lord recompenses you for all the things you had done unto his people. Now, the word pursue is radap, which means to be behind, follow after, pursue, persecute, run after. Run after. So blood, death, and calamity is going to run after you. It's going to run right behind you, just as you were running behind the so-called Negroes during the time of slavery and post-slavery, and behind the Latin tribes as well, to slay them in their calamity, and during the time when their iniquity had come to an end. It's going to run after you like a hooligan. It's going to pursue you. It's going to harass you. To follow after earnestly, to pursue, follow, to follow after, to persecute in a hostile sense, to put to flight. To persecute in a hostile manner, to be driven away, to be scattered. And you're going to be driven away from amongst men after 1,000 years of serving hardcore slavery under the nation of Israel. Esau, and blood shall pursue thee, save thou that hast not hated blood, since you don't hate blood, since you love it, since you love shedding it across the four corners of the earth, wherever you go. Guess what? Even blood shall pursue thee. And that's exactly what's going to happen, Esau. And I'll end it there. I pray this lesson was edifying to the elect of the nation of Israel. Until the next, I say shalom.